Government. I'm Dennis Leary. We're doing a series of videos called Sex Signs, and we are now going to do episode number 25 in this series. We've been talking about the sex signs and the hand as a sign of the handbook, a manual, a shorthand reference to tie things together, put it in a handy way that we can get hands on the subject. Now it assumes a background of information which you can find at the website, lovegovernment.com, and also the other videos. There's 52 other videos called Sex Cards, and then we have done 24 videos on the sex signs. So all of this information we're going to try to narrow down into one hand sign, one hand book, so to speak, so we can just read the hand. That's what's behind this way of speaking, way of organizing, way of sharing the information. In the last episode, we got up to we're going through the fingers of the hand. We got up to this finger here. But I'm going to kind of start over here because I'm going to try to tie it up even better into the handbook type of information, tying it into the five senses. So it's all about love. We've said many times sex is where it's at because sex is the most important expression of love. But it's in a love context. That's why we have the Love Government as the title. It's all about love, but we have to address the issue of sexuality, which is crucial to understanding and dealing with our world today. Because the sex that we have today is all mixed up, confusion, and we need to straighten that out if we're going to survive and thrive. So the handbook, as I've said before, the hand is a symbol of the clitoris. It's a symbol of clitoral thinking. It refers to the clitoris, first of all, in the woman, which has five extensions. It has a head, which is visible, and then there's the arms and legs in the woman, clitoris. This information is relatively new, and it's probably not going to go down too well with patriarchal men. A woman discovered this in the 1980s, and she has a book called Eve's Secrets. And it shows that the penis of the man also has a clitoris inside it, which is the major part of the penis, responsible for the erection and much of the pleasure. It means then that man and woman are very similar, even in the sexual organs. The man has a clitoris, in other words. That's astounding information, new information, that's going to take a while to process, but we're using it here. So the hand stands for the clitoris, the full hand. It's a clitoral sign. It's a sign of all kinds of things brought under that central symbol. So the hand has a woman clitoris in the head. The thumb stands for that, because the thumb is more or less, in symbolic language, shaped and configured like the head of the clitoris. It's small, it's round, it's shaped like a pea or a nut or a nub, and it's the center of things, center of her vulva, center of the whole woman. So that's why we make a great deal out of clitoral thinking, and we trace it back to the love culture. Very important stuff we're setting up here. And it's kind of difficult to grasp a hold of it at first, but with time it will make sense. And then the full hand, these would stand for the penis, 4 penises in one clitoris. In other words, they're saying these are oppositional. The hand is oppositional. Thumb on one side, fingers on the other. It's 4 to 1. It takes 4 male penises to satisfy one womanly clitoris in terms of sexual capacity, nerve endings, whatever. In other words, the man, it takes 4 men to satisfy one woman. That's the love culture truth that's behind all of this. That's not accepted by modern culture by any means. So this hand sign is the sign of love, sign of sex, sign of true sex, just the hand itself. And the hand is attached to our body. The body is 5 extensioned, like the clitoris. So we have a clitoral body. Man and woman has a clitoral body, clitoral hand. And then the hand also is like the 5 extension star. We make a star with 5 points. That's also another clitoral sign. So we're talking clitoral language here. So the hand is all a sign of that. Now if you go, you go into other signs. There's 5 like main sexual signs that we can use as reminders to ourselves of what's going on in terms of love, from the love government point of view. The other sign would be the sign like this, which is the vaginal sex sign. See, this is clitoris, clitoral sex. This would stand for vaginal sex, obviously. This is a vagina, opening to the vagina. Penis goes in here. This is called intercourse. It's called vaginal sex. And then this makes a vagina. So this is a sign of sex also. The 6th sign is vaginal sex. Another sign is this sign, which is an L, which is the woman clitoris head and a penis makes an L. That's a sign of L for love. You can use that sign to remind yourself or myself of this type of love thinking. As opposed, on the other side, this is the positive side, this is the negative side. You could have a gun here. This is a gun. That's not a love sign. That's an anti-love sign. This is the patriarchal sign of power over by means of a gun, opposed to this, which is the love sign. Another sign would be of the urethra of the woman, and that would be this. The urethra is where she ejaculates or urinates, but it's the ejaculatory function of the woman, and that would be this. So this, you could use that as a sign of the urethra. So actually, a woman has 3 sexual capacities as opposed to 1 for the man. The woman has a clitoris, she has a urethra, which is highly sexual, and she also has a vagina. That's 3 to 1 capacity on the male part. So the urethra is surrounded underneath by the clitoris, and when that and associated muscles spasm, they produce an ejaculation. And if the man or the penis is not in the way, the woman can ejaculate. And a young, strong woman in the love culture, you hit the ceiling or the opposite wall. So forceful are those ejaculations. They were very important as symbols and sacraments in the love culture, but not so much. That's probably, it'll be another story, but that were kind of wiped out by the patriarchal program. So we have these signs. We can use this one and this one and this one and this one. These are hand signs. Hand language is a sign language. Language. It's all about, much of it is about language, which produces culture. So now we want to go into the individual fingers as part of this hand sign language. The thumb is the first one. The thumb stands for touch, because the thumb stands for the clitoris, as I've said, the woman's clitoris. The clitoris, both man and woman, is meant to be touched in sexuality. It's masturbated, it's touched, it's massaged, rubbed. The clitoris is meant to be touched. So it's associated then with the sense of touch. In a love culture, it was highly developed and acute because it hadn't been suppressed yet. So the thumb stands for the pleasure of touching. Now that means not just the hands, but the whole body. The whole human body is meant to touch and be touched. And then, so that's what's behind that. Now the thumb stands for the head of the clitoris, which is clitoral thinking, as opposed to overly excessive clinical thinking. So clitoral thinking, clitoral sex, is the primary thing in the love culture, because the clitoris is the only organ designed strictly for pleasure in the woman. Directly and strictly for pleasure. The clitoris. It's a primal sign. Now what that means is that if you do clitoral sex, you don't have to worry about abortion. You don't have to worry about artificial, clinical types of birth control. In the love government, we are against artificial means of birth control and abortion, because it cuts right at the heart of love. It's like taking a sword and cutting off love right at the beginning in your sexual activity, and certainly with abortion. Now, there are exceptions. Every statement you make has exceptions, and these exceptions prove the rule, or they disprove it. In this case, it proves the rule, but we can go into the exceptions, but I don't have time to go into all those exceptions. There are cases where abortion is called for, but it is not the way it is practiced today. It's an evil, immoral, destructive, terrible system which is whitewashed over, so we don't understand it. We're confused. We're confused by the propaganda of patriarchy. Therefore, we don't understand it. But the love government is coming along to help us understand what's really behind it. And so when we look at the thumb, we think of that. Think of the thumb as for touching, clitoral thinking, which brings into focus the fact that we don't need artificial birth control. We use natural methods of birth control, and we certainly don't need abortion. That saves us. That information saves us, because if we're doing those other things, we're killing ourselves. I don't have time to go into the full implications of it, but I will in the writings. You can look at those. So that is very important that we get that these things, and then it takes a while to understand it, but this is where it's at. And so that's what is involved with the touch of the clitoris, the thumb. Then we go on to the next finger, and that is this finger, the index finger, the pointing finger, the forefinger, they call it. Now this finger is also a tasting finger. When you taste things like this, your tongue, touch your tongue, it's a tasting finger, and that is that's this finger, the forefinger. But it points to something, and that is taste. It points to a diet. Now we're going to get talking about the diet now. What we are, what we eat. There's a lot of big truth in that. And the love government advocates for a Eden vegan diet, because that's important to love. It's the way people ate when they were in the Garden of Eden. They ate vegan. They did not eat meat or animal products. That's the big point. No meat, no animal products. But it has to be a Eden vegan, because you can die and be very unhealthy on a vegan diet. And you can still be vegan, but you can be very unhealthy. If you're taking things into your body that are unhealthy, like, addicting type of drugs and chemicalized food, processed food, that's fast food, junk food, that can be killing food. We're going to sign off here at this point with the love signs, which is this. We say love, clitoral sign, right? Love, love, and more love. Thank you very much.